going to get the support for that seasonal vote?
You know, we do think that the seasonal issue will take place and will restart here going into July here. Obviously, near term, like Jim mentioned, he's pretty darn bearish that euro currency and therefore bullish U.S. dollar. So that means we got maybe a little more pressure here for our grains. So as far as outside markets, there's no doubt the current mindset is bearish. In addition to that, as we all know, the weather is almost ideal right now. In terms of problem spots throughout the nation, this chart is very close to what was actually the same thing as last week. This was not updated by these guys here just yet, but this should not be any change here from what it shows. Generally, light precip or light moisture problems in the far south. As far as the 6 to 10 day, we do show some heat hit, setting in next week for mainly the most of the Corn Belt here, except for Nebraska. But it's not going to be a major issue as far as precip-wise. Still extra moisture in the far north, and in fact in the far east, or actually it's below average precip in the far east. But at this point, there's no major problems as far as the crop goes. And starting this week, I'll actually get our models updated. We're going to start making that yield forecast again. So each week, based off those crop progress rating, we have a model which makes up separate yield numbers for the top 10 corn states. And we actually compile a master U.S. corn yield. So we'll know week by week where this crop is at. In terms of what we're sitting at with this afternoon, the crop progress report, we have a 1% increase expected for corn. Brings up to 77% good to excellent. So very exciting as far as a big number here for this time of year. Other issues, last week we talked about this yield thing. We should not expect a change in yields on this week's report. On Thursday morning, we have a monthly supply-demand report. And as we talked about, we do not see these guys raise yields on these going from May to June. Starting in July, that's when they make the regular changes to yields. However, at the end of this month, I want to take a quick look here at this acreage issue. This acreage thing is not quite as set in stone as we all think. We all think, you know what, we had a great corn planting. That means automatically we're going to be popping corn acres up, doesn't it? This is kind of a little different scenario. In the past, that argument certainly was true. Look at these years where the red dots are. These are days below or days behind the 5-year average pace of hitting 50% planted. So in these troubled years, obviously we had a poor planting pace right here, and we did see corn acres drop. Makes kind of sense. Same thing in 95, and look at these guys where we had some generally higher, some good planting paces. We had some acres increase. That relationship doesn't exactly hold true all the time, and certainly look at these past few years where we had a poor planting pace and yet corn acres increased. So generally, farmers are going to keep on plugging away at planting corn if prices are rallying. In fact, we'll talk about this in coming weeks. That price is a bigger issue than actual planting conditions are.
Is that last red dot, is that this year?
That's this year. We hit this 50% planted pace a full 11 days ahead of normal.
Wow.
So a week and a half ahead of normal.
And when would they change? Would the acreage change on the coming report or in June 30th?
And on June 30th, that's right, we have that special report simply called acreage. And then they'll start reflecting that on the July supply-demand report. For soybeans, we've got our very first number at this very first crack at the good to excellent ratings here through this week, and they're talking 70% is what they're talking right now. And you know what? You look back in history, and for any other year of this week, 70% is the highest it's ever been. So we have 2 other years where we had 70. So bottom line, we're going to be at a record start for bean conditions right now. That's pretty darn bearish on as far as the price impact here. So 70% is the average guess for this afternoon's report. And on that yield issue here, like we talked about before here, we are going to see no change in soybean yields on this report on Thursday. We will start making those changes next month. And showing the other thing, we have this other asking the same question we asked earlier as far as being, do early plantings mean we're going to increase or decrease any type of acreage impact? And it really is not that clear of an impact. You can easily see back in the 90s we had acres just jumping like crazy from March to June, and heck, half the time we even had poor plantings going on. So we're not going to get too excited about saying that plantings will be a major problem or major issue here, because we're not going to make an argument saying that acres will change based on planting. It certainly is going to be more on price. This